Good evening. The first presidential debate for the Democrats has come to a close, and the closing remarks were lackluster. The debate itself, the first hour, was not very impressive except for the argument on immigration. The second hour was a little bit heated because I guess they got the memo that the first hour was sort of boring. That said, I'm looking forward to the debate on night 2 with former Vice President Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, the senator, and the other candidates who have been slated for the second night. I'm also looking forward to hearing more on the campaign trail from Elizabeth Warren. I know she's up in the polls, but tonight she was very conservative with her remarks. Some of the questions around the economy and foreign policy, she sort of skated around, but she was very direct when she talked about health care. Senator Booker did a pretty good job. He dealt with some issues in the black community, which he felt like as a black man that was important to him. The other candidates, I don't know that they should have been on the stage. I think that like the New York mayor, de Blasio, he kind of was there, made his statements, tried to stand out, but was unable to stand out. One other candidate that stood out to me was Beto O'Rourke. He talked passionately about issues affecting the Latino community, even spoke in Spanish. Cory Booker, and Castro also spoke in Spanish to the Latino community, because I think a lot of people are concerned about the issue of immigration and just want to assure that constituency that they're going to handle the issue if they were to be elected. I think immigration was a rallying point, and that was very important for the for the first debate, for the first hour. For the second hour, there was no real rallying point except that they all decided they were going to step up their volume a little bit because they only had one more hour left to sort of present themselves to the American people, to present themselves to the public. So that was sort of the energy around the second hour. They talked about foreign policy, a lot of talk about China and being a major issue with American foreign policy. Not much talk about Russia, except from one candidate, de Blasio. More talk around some of the other important issues. Not much talk about impeachment, even though the issue was brought up. I think since the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, has kind of pedaled back a little bit in terms of impeachment, I think the presidential candidates won't really pursue that path in terms of pushing that on the campaign trail, because the Speaker has not moved that issue forward. It's also important to note that they all made closing statements, and I thought the closing statements were kind of lackluster. You didn't really feel that you could sit down with the candidate and say, hey, let's have a drink, come to my house and have lunch or dinner. It was sort of like, this is why you should vote for me, and I'm the candidate above any other candidate, and just the typical stump speech that you give. It wasn't really the speech that we needed to hear as the American people. So from that perspective, I thought I would just give feedback as a journalist, because I think that we're the voice in between the candidate and the people, and we sort of moderate what is being said after a debate and what the energy is like in the room post and pre-debate. So I look forward to chatting with you after debate number 2 on tomorrow night. Thank you, MJ Carter.